Book 2, ukulele. Let's do it. We're doing some Tin Pan Alley songs today. Let me go post our link over on the website. Website is jollyrogerukulele.com. All the sheet music's over there and all that good stuff. Command V, Shift, highlight, link, enter, edit, settings, open in a new window, update, scroll up, hit bold, hit update. All right, that'll get everybody coming in. And then I can close this window and we're going to go tweet at what we're up to here. https://jollyrogerukulele.com. Patience. Open this, put the logo on it, hit tweet, and off they go. Patience. There it goes. Oh, I have all kinds of stuff on sad things. Let's see. Linda's back in. Says the sound is good. Lynn is back. Can't chase Lynn and Linda off. No matter how much I tease them. And then we've got our plan today. If I can get my computer. I have a computer that is officially too old for the internet and these days. Here's what I did. This is Gary. So I have one piece of software that I have to have it work correctly, and that's Finale, because I write so much music. Has to work. And my old computer was conking out, and I thought, okay, I got to get a new computer. I'm going to go to Finale, make sure that the new Macintoshes are going to cooperate with that software. And right on the front page, hey, we're not ready for the Apple chip. We're not ready for it. And so I was like, okay, well, I can't get a new computer because my software that has to work isn't ready for it. So then I started like, well, okay, what's plan B? So I bought exactly the same old computer that I have as a replacement for the other old computer I have. This one at least works. It doesn't. It's smoke doesn't come out of it when I'm using it, but it is very old. It's a very old machine. It's a refurb kind of machine. And so now, yesterday they updated Finale. It is finally native to the new Macintoshes. So I'm going to probably ask Santa for a new Macintosh for Christmas. So I don't know why I told you that. Oh, I was telling you that because my computer's slow. Okay, let's see. There's that. That's the story. That's why I'm always going patience. Because I click on this and I just like to make sure it opens to the right page, and it does. We're all set. Hey, by the light of the silvery moon. That's what we're working on first. By the light of the silvery moon, come Josephine in my flying machine, and then we're going to take a brief tour of 5'2". So, by the light of the silvery moon is the first thing we're after. We're not book 1 anymore. We're in book 2. By the way, if you are playing in this at any level of skill set, you should be really proud of yourself. This is not easy music that we're working on. These Tin Pan Alley tunes are challenging in lots of different ways, and most people are never going to play the way you're playing. They're just not going to put the time and energy into playing this way. And that's okay, right? No, we don't care. We're okay with being better than the rest. Elitism, right? That's what we want. Who else wandered in here? Michelle is in, straight out of Thornton. Andrew is back. Andrew is joining us from Castle Rock, Colorado. I was telling everybody earlier, back in the day, I used to, when I first moved back to Colorado, I ended up in commercial real estate, and we used to build strip malls everywhere. And for a while, for about 3 years, I was working on a strip mall in Colorado Springs, and then so I drove back and forth all the time, and I drove through Castle Rock back in those days, which was it was a Safeway store. That's basically what it was, and it was kind of this crummy little town. No, now it's the place to be in Colorado. I mean, it is like crazy, all the stuff going on down there, so we're honored to have Drew with us today. Michelle, by the light of the silvery moon makes my hand ache playing it. Oh, well, let's take a look at that and let's figure out why, because I do think I have a sense of why. Hoping to do better. Diane, I want you to know, after 20 years on the ukulele, every single time I pick it up, I'm hoping to do better this session, right? So that's a real normal thing. Let's talk about why Michelle's hand hurts. Okay, let's talk about what things you can do when you're playing. Almost certainly, this is the hand that hurts. Very rarely, if this hand hurts, right? Because we're doing this little motion, right? And sometimes we're doing this little motion, but this hand doesn't usually hurt. It's almost always this hand, and it's because you're got way too much tension in your thumb. And let's talk about various ways to avoid that. So when you are making, let's say this first chord on here, 003, there is a tendency. Right, you got. Let's see. Let me get here. This is where my thumb is supposed to be. Okay, my front here looks pretty good. Everything's backwards, and okay. But if I'm panicked when I'm playing, I'm going to squeeze too tight, and now all of a sudden I got a ton of tension in my thumb that I don't need. So be mindful when you are playing that scrunching your thumb down is not a goal, right? So that shouldn't. So just. And if it is happening where your thumb is hurting all the time, take your thumb off and play it. Do this. This is really this is a fun challenge. Don't use your thumb. I'll come up with my thumb out here. So I didn't use my thumb at all there. Didn't play well, of course, but it gives you the sense of where should my that means it's possible, right? But it also means where's the real pressure happening? The real pressure is happening down here, right? Where I'm not going to be hurting my my hands. I'm just sort of squinching this up against my body. That's better tension, right? That way, so you know it's possible to play it without your thumb at all. But what we all have a tendency to do when we're playing is really crank down on that thumb, and that's going to do two things. One, it's going to make your hand hurt, but two, worse than that, it's going to make you slower when you're playing. And so I knew exactly the minute you said, hey, my thumb, my hands are hurting, it's always your left hand, right? Because you were squishing it too much. And then, just like you're saying, you get to measure 12, and you got bar chords. Okay, so let's talk about being smart about bar chords. Can you actually make a bar without a thumb? Yep. Not a great bar, but you can do it. And again, the pressure now is up against this underneath my elbow over here. So it's theoretically possible. It's not great, but it's possible to make your bars without a thumb. Now, so that means if you're going to use your thumb, when you first start playing and I first teach you bar chords, I'm like, you're going to have to squeeze like heck, because you remember back when you first started bar chords? Remember that sound? Okay. You don't make that sound anymore, right? But when you're first making that sound, it's just because you're not squeezing hard enough. So I teach you to squeeze a little bit, and that's going to build up your muscle here. But we don't want that to be your main thing. We want you to develop a skill set where you can push just a little bit. Okay. The other thing I see people doing often is they're doing this. They get their thumb like at an angle. Let's see if I can get this. You don't want this, right? You don't want to be pushing with the top of your thumb. Your thumb and your pad are, I don't know how to do that. Thumb and your pad, that's what you need. Okay, because otherwise, all of these other things you do are going to be adding tension into your left hand and making it and fatiguing it. Okay, so nice, soft, pretty little thumb. And you don't have to take it off. It's just an exercise to try taking it off. You're not really going to play with your thumb off. Okay, I'm barely squeezing now. But I also have a pretty well-developed squeezing muscle, right? So it's different. If you're lifting up, bales of hay and you're brand new, that first day is pretty hard. If you're lifting up bales of hay and you've been at it for 5 years, you're pretty strong, right? And so it's not you don't have to put as much effort in as day one. And so just be thoughtful as you are putting this together, that one, we got to build this muscle up, so it is normal for it to be tired and fatigued and tense and that sort of thing. But as you become a more advanced player, and most of you guys I know for quite a while, most of you are probably able to put way less tension into your thumb to get the same effect now. All right, so that's the bar issue, but that doesn't solve all the issues, does it? So the next thing is this daggone minor shape here with your ring finger up here. In this song, at measure 12, you've got to get the bar on and then your ring finger up here. Again, our tendency is to crank down on our thumb, okay? But you really, really want to do the least amount possible. Okay, so I'm barely squeezing, but I'm getting clean tones. That's what I want. Okay, and then of course I've got this 5, got to tuck my pinky under 7, 8, and then don't lose faith, right? 13 is just another bar chord on 7 with the F shape in front. And it's actually, I think it's a little easier to play because you've got some support from your middle finger here. Now the hard one, the one I don't have a solution for, is that chord right there. I had to put it in another arrangement I did the other day. There's no A minor hanging around up there. There's also not a good D chord hanging around up there. So you've got bar on 2, pinky on 7. Okay, and that sounds just fine, right? That one, actually, the tension is in my wrist when I do that one because I'm stretching so far. Okay, and again, be mindful of what's going on with this hand, with your wrist in general. If your wrist is way out here, or you getting this kind of thing, that's not what we want. You want to hold the ukulele up 45, 50, 60 degree angle, and then this arm is basically straight. Basically straight. Let me see if it's weird on the camera, but it is straight, I promise. Right? That's what we want, even on this one. Okay? This one, the pressure is happening down in my wrist because my thumb has had to drop all the way down to the very bottom of the ukulele in order to support this crazy shape. So when you have a left hand that's tired, if it's tired, that's one thing. You're building muscle. If it's like, ow, that really hurts, you're probably doing more. You're probably over-stressing on your thumb, probably. Right? Can't tell without looking at you, but yeah. So be mindful of those. That when you get to bar chords, and your hand is tired, if you're newer, that makes sense because you're building that muscle. If you've been around a while, it's probably because you're just those bars show up and you're like, oh god, there's the bar, right? And you glom onto your ukulele, like you're trying to murder it by strangling its neck. And we want to avoid that part. So it's sort of this mixed bag of you got to be tough in the beginning, but once you're tough enough, then you don't want to be tough anymore, sort of thing. Okay. Lynn says, "Oh, I will try that." And it's my thumb that always do me in. Thumb always does me in too, guys. It always I have been at school now working with this particular professor for a year, and guess what we talk about in my lessons? Right? It's hard. It's hard, and that tendency of you get a difficult passage in a piece of music. Our tendency is to tense up, right? We do this, right? And it's the opposite of what you're supposed to do. When you get to the hard part, you're supposed to relax and let it happen. When you get to the easy part, lean into it, make that part a little bit more dramatic, a little bit more interesting. But when you're playing and you find yourself tensing up, that's obviously not going to do anybody any good. So let's see. I find that a little difficult to hold a tenor steady like you are with that soprano. So this is a tenor. This is the tenor size. I'm just a huge guy. No, it's just the camera makes it look weird. This is a tenor. Here's the other thing I know, because I also teach a little guitar. I teach a lot of guitar. It's impossible to hold on to that instrument. This instrument is a little easier to hold on to, but it is equally difficult. And so, get a strap on. Make sure you're using a strap. I can't emphasize that enough. That solves 90% of your posture problems. But yeah, you're going to fight holding it just a little bit. And Michelle says the back thumb. The back thumb is the thing. Yeah, I'm late but happy to be here. Hey, friend, good to see you. And Jen and Charlie made it in from Tucson. Okay, so long discussion on the thumb, but that's typically with me, with most of the students that I've worked with, and certainly even in other instruments, this business of tension in your hand is bad. Tension in your hand. Now that's sort of a brash generalization, because you have to have some tension to make the things work, right? But just be aware if you are really walking away and you're like, your hand is like, man, I've been playing 2 years and I know what I'm doing, but my hand hurts all the time. I want you to do yourself a favor one night. Just sit down and whatever the song is in front of you, play the whole thing, and don't let yourself use your thumb. What you're going to find out is that you can get the result you're looking for by being a little bit better, a little bit tighter over here, and then the weight of your arm is actually creating the pressure on the strings, right? And so play a whole song like that, and what you'll find is your thumb keeps desperately reaching up to be involved in the game, because you've trained it to be, okay, thumb, you're it, you're the guy, you're stepping up, make this happen, and so we've overtrained him, right? He's doing too much work, and so that is for those of you guys with aching hands. It's normal. If you've been playing for an hour, it's normal for your hand to hurt a little bit. If you've been playing for 10 minutes and your hand hurts, that's not normal. I will tell you, a couple years ago now, we played for the Boulder Guitar Society. They invited me up as a ukulele player, and what did we do? 45, 50 minutes of music. And I remember when we were getting ready for that, and I was spending a lot of time offline working on it, my hand just ached all the time. And part of that obviously was tension. I mean, I'm getting ready for a performance, but part of it was just lots and lots of hours under and working. And so when I got to the performance, I'm like, okay, try not to over press. Try to be loose and reasonable with the pressure you're doing here, and it made it better. Right, maybe, I think, I don't know. Okay, all right. That's a long conversation about my left hand hurts. All right, hey Sandy, let's play By the Light of the Silver. Now we have to play everything really fast. So from the top, we'll get to what we get to now. To the top, play down to 18, come back to top, and skip 17 and 18 the second time through. And then I'm going to, because I don't have a strap on this, I'm just going to play it with my thumb both times. Okay, from the top. 1, 2, 3. Page 2, sorry. I'm going to play it better the second time through. Ready, go. It's a great piece of music, right? And the arrangement is so fun. There's a couple of, that measures 12 through 15 are your challenge, obviously. And you got bar chord. You got to move your middle finger. Very awkward to get it from the 8 on the second string. To the 8 on the first string. So for me, measure 13 is the one that's like, right? Plus, I've been playing a lot of other instruments, right? So I'm always trying to figure out where the heck your frets are, how wide they are. I blew it pretty good on the first time through. But that's a really nice piece of music, and I think that for some of you, one of you should probably memorize that and make it your signature song, right? It's just really lovely. Let's grab the baritone version of it, and that's probably all we'll get to today. And then what we'll do is we'll just carry over. Let's carry over. Come Josephine through the weekend, and then 5'2". We'll talk about it on Tuesday. How about that? Let's just make By the Light. This is By the Light of the Silvery Moon Day. By the way, I still have not posted tomorrow's music. That's my goal for the afternoon. I meant to get that done on Sunday, of course, and didn't happen. And then all of a sudden it's, what is today? Thursday. I don't know how this works, but somehow there's 4 days missing out of my life. So I will get the music for tomorrow posted up tonight. And remember, we keep Friday music for 2 weeks. And so we will be spending 2 weeks on whatever I get posted tomorrow. So don't stress out that you don't have your music yet. I apologize. Well, stress out a little bit. Be stressed out for me. How about that? So when we switch to baritone, right, most of you are on ukulele. So what you're thinking is, all right, do I know my G chord? And he waits patiently. Yep. Heck yeah, I know a G chord. You taught it to us, right? Do I know an A minor chord? Oh yeah, it's that guy right there, right? Do you know your D7? It's either here or here, right? This is the good one, the bar with the 3. That's the good D7. Use that one. E minor is the fancy one. That's when you got to get. That's the one that I almost quit ukulele over. That one was somehow this one was just the meanest little chord in the entire group for me. Okay, you got a G chord, C chord. Hopefully you know your C chord. Okay. A chord down there at measure 15. What the heck's that doing there? That's weird. That doesn't belong there. That's the index finger and middle finger are here. Okay, and that's all your chords. Okay, so if you don't know those are ones you want to know. So what I recommend when you're playing on ukulele and you go to grab the baritone music, read through all of the chords, find out which ones you don't know automatically, and then go look them up and write yourself a little chart until you do start to know them automatically. But in my mind, level 2, you have seen all of these chords at some place in level 1. They may not necessarily be baked into your soul quite yet, and so those ones that you don't just automatically know, go write them down, spend a little bit of time working on them. I know when I first started teaching ukulele, it was just ukulele, right? Well, then at some point I started having people wandering in with baritones, and I'm like, oh God, now I have to have ukulele brain and baritone brain. And in the beginning, it was a major lift to get where I was comfortable with the baritone shapes. And now, of course, many years later, they're just baked in. I know they just come to me without a whole lot of thought. But it wasn't like it was just magic, right? You have to do the work. And so look through, anytime we start a new song, look through, if you're on ukulele, look through the baritone music and see which chords you don't know, and then go look them up. All right, baritone players, let's make this beautiful. I'm going to pluck this entire one because I can get to it here. Okay, from the top, ukulele's on chords, baritone's either on melody or tough uke. 1, 2, 3. top. Missed it. That's really a very poor choice of arrangement. The 5 on the fourth string. That's what I should do. All right, so we only got the one song, but I think that we've made an important conversation. I hope that that's meaningful for you. Again, if my hand is hurting, watch what happens if don't play the bar chords, right? You gotta that's different, but play the whole first half of the song without your thumb. I can feel myself sort of bearing down on the top of this instrument, pushing it up against my body so that I have something for the rest of my hand to be pulling against. And then you're using your whole body, your large muscle groups to do all of the work in that case. And that way, when you go back with your thumb, you don't have to press quite so hard. And hopefully that is a more enjoyable way to play the ukulele, because we're really here just for the fun, right? Questions, comments, or concerns? Otherwise, toss me an email if I said something crazy today. We got one of our lovely Russian hackers joining us today. We'll get rid of them. And and what Michelle says, I love it. This is one of those songs like that you're just like, man, this is in my mind, this is up there with 5'2" and Ain't She Sweet. I just think it's just everything about it's great. You got to learn that 4-bar phrase there at the bottom, but otherwise it's pretty reliable. Got to drop it. Oh, and Michelle had to head out for a meeting, so try thumbless playing. Don't do it for real, right? But do it because you'll learn. How hard am I cramping that thumb in against my neck? And it's usually pretty hard, right? And so if you come into the studio here and I give you a private lesson, I probably see that. But because I can't, because you're in all over the country now, I don't necessarily know you're doing something crazy. And it's really easy to do something crazy with your thumb. I'm kind of good at this, and I'm still doing crazy stuff with my thumb. So yeah, just know that's something worth working on. Okay, guys, I will get some music posted for tomorrow. Remember, tomorrow's at noon, and then I have a meeting right after that. So we're gonna keep it tight, and then I got to get out of here tomorrow. But we will have their meeting at noon, and then off I have to run to a thing, and then. So I'm not sure what we'll post up there. And also make sure that if you haven't got on the email list, that you are on the email list, because every now and then I have stuff come up and I got to make some adjustments in the schedule and so on. So so make sure you are on the email list. Just go Jolly Roger and put your email list in there. I don't sell that stuff. Nobody wants ukulele email lists. In fact, mostly I spend time deleting people who aren't participating in it. So and that's it. Okay. Fran says, thanks for the hints. You're welcome. I just recently realized I need to have my thumb at the bottom for those tough reaches. It really helps the stress as long as I don't squeeze too hard. Yeah, so your thumb, boy, this is all thumb day. Normally you're keeping it, let's see if I can get this. Let me pull up normally thumb's hanging out here, right? But when it comes to a tough one, it is normal to let it drop down here. okay, because you get a little bit different attack angle, and so yeah, it hangs out behind my middle finger all of the time, more or less, but sometimes it's a little higher on the neck and sometimes it's a little lower. I watched years ago when Jake came to town, Jake Shimabukuro, those of you guys, most of you know him, pretty good ukulele player, but I had been in a fight with one of my students about thumb, and she didn't want me to do it, so I thought, I'm going to watch Jake tonight and see what he does with thumb. The entire night his thumb's in picture perfect position the entire night, except about 6 times when he was playing a C chord he did this, right? I'm like, oh, when he's being lazy his thumb gets up there, but for the rest of the time, 2 hours of playing, his thumb was exactly where it's supposed to be. So I thought that was a pretty useful piece of information. All right, guys, have a wonderful night. I appreciate it, everything you guys are, and I will see you soon. Peace.